So whenever you're plastering or doing a reskim or you're skimming on boardwork, is a few tools that you're going to need. So what you need, make a list, is a bucket trowel or a gauger. Just something to scoop out of the bucket unless you have to pour it on a spot board and frame. You don't really need a spot board and frame, but it will help on your back, you know, so you're not bending over into a bucket. So the next thing you're going to need is a 4-inch brush. I definitely recommend the minimum size of 4-inch, you can get bigger. The next one is a 1-inch internal angle brush. It's just a decorator's brush with white bristles on the end, and it's synthetic so that the bristles don't actually come off, whereas if you use a black bristle brush, the bristles usually come off and stick into your plaster, and that's something that you don't want. So then I've got a Renovation internal angle trowel. I've got various different types of internal angle trowels. I just like this one because it's small, I like to travel light, and less weight to carry around with me. Next thing you're going to need is a stanley knife, you know, for screwing out, you know, the general sort of stuff that you know you're going to need. If there's anything on the wall that you need to pick out, you can do it with that. Then you'll need a tape measure, just any size, 5 metre, 8 metre, whatever tape measure you feel comfortable with. Then you'll need some tin snips. These are widths. I've got DeWalt snips. I've got various different types. Whatever you fancy using, whatever's more comfortable. And then for boarding wise, I know we're not doing boarding on this one, but I've got my pad saw and I've got my surf on. Just a little thing that I've included within this because you know, you never know, you might have to cut out an hole for any patching. So then, next thing you need is a skimming trowel. This is 14-inch by 5-inch stainless steel Marshalltown trowel. It's already pre-broken. It's something that I've been using for rendering, but now I use it. It's already broken because it's had some years of use, and breaking in just means that them two ends are going to be short, which is what you want. When you buy a brand new trowel and it's Marshalltown, it's not going to be quite good enough straight away for skimming. That's just a little tip for you when you're doing any type of skimming. And another little tip is, if you can see these corners, they're sort of rounded, so I've cut them off just to make them more round, and that stops the front end, you know, the toe of your trowel digging in as you skim off. So that's the one that I use for putting on with, because I just like the feel of a Marshalltown trowel. I can trowel up with that trowel. That's not the first trowel that I bought, but that is the trowel that gets the most use, you know, for rendering, putting on, floating. I don't use it for dotting down or anything where I can hit any wires, cables or anything like that. You don't have to get Marshalltown. This is an ox trowel, 14-inch by 5. You can see I've cut the corners off on this one. This is a brand new trowel. So I've cut the corners off. They just need sanding and filing down so they're more round. But if you look here, it is broken, but it will not be ready for skimming. You can still use it, but it will leave. So it'll leave quite a few tying stripes because it's new, and that's just what happens with trowel, with a new trowel, until you break it in. The next we got is this is a Nella, 14-inch by 5. I can use whatever size trowel. I just think 2 inches is a little bit of a waste. As you can see, this is already factory cut, so it's, you know, your corners are rounded and sharp. And the Renovation trowels, when you first buy these, they're already broken, they're already sharp, they're flexible, so they've got a lot of movement. And these they're not new, but they've only been out for, you know, best part of 8 years. I would say, and it's probably the best invention to come out for plastering or skimming because it's flexible and quite bendy. It takes all the work out on your wrists, on your wrists and your forearms. When you're troweling up. So that's just something else that I like to do with finishing. I only do my flattening with that. I can put on weight, or you can put on with it, but you're better off just sticking to the Marshalltown and just using that for finishing. The only thing is with this, it's quite really not flimsy, I would say, but it's it's very delicate, so you have to be careful around nails, screws. Just don't drop it, otherwise you bend it. And that are all the trowels that I've had. I've had about 6 or 7 of these in the last few years. So they don't last very long, but they are really good to save on your wrists and take all the work out of it. Whereas the Marshalltown trowel, I've had this one. It looks, it's a bit dusty and stuff, but it is virtually, it's 10-year-old, but I've looked after it. I've cleaned it. It's got not much flexibility about it. It is quite solid. And the other trowel that I use for skimming that I finish with, which is exactly the same as this, that trowel is 15 years old. And them kind of tools I just don't want to let go. And obviously with me being in a plastering training centre, I didn't want to bring that trowel out, so I've sort of left that where it is at the moment. The next thing you're going to need is an handboard. This is a brand new handboard. It's only silver handboard. It's just good quality, decent enough. This is for training courses. I think it's 14 by 14 inch. And like I said, I use it for training courses. And I have got a Marshalltown handboard, but again, I haven't done that up. I've just left that in the van. So then, when you've got that, I like to use a scraper. Just any scraper. Something that's a good size, scraping floor, scraping around edges, just to clean up a little bit, once you're done. And sometimes it helps to scrape around your buckets, if ever you didn't clean your buckets out. And sometimes it can catch you off guard. Plaster sets, summertime, majority of the time it sets a bit too quick, but I always make sure I clean the buckets out. Then you'll need one of these brushes, like a dustpan brush. I use that just for cleaning plaster out buckets if it's a little bit too stiff. But like I said, you can still use a 4-inch brush. I use that for cleaning it out now and again, but when it goes a little bit too stiff, I use that one. It's just got stiff and bristles. The next thing you're going to need some grubber tubs. I've got a little bucket here, what I put the tools in. You can never have too many buckets. I just use this grubber tub for general mixing if I'm doing a big area. And then the next thing you're going to need is a trestle. You can get any size. You can get square ones. A different mop-up of start by down, whatever you feel comfortable with whenever you're doing any plastering with. And it's also important that you're at the right height. If you don't want to be too low, you don't want to be too high, you just want to be just right. So you can get different trestles where the lengths adjust, and there's various different types, so check them out.